So 10 Bay is McMaster's first graduate residence. So we have been in the wonderful position to host 4,000 undergraduate students for many, many years. And from that, we had heard the need from graduate students that they would like a home dedicated to their needs. So we are excited that 10 Bay, which will be located in downtown Hamilton, is opening this September. It is a beautiful building. I've had a chance to go up there myself. It's 30 stories tall, some amazing views. It's an amazing location. Some stats about it. So there'll be 644 bed spaces, which will be across 453 apartments. So depending on what your needs are, if you're looking for a single room in a 2-bedroom apartment, there's options to live with a roommate, or if you want your own private space, there's both studio and 1-bedrooms available, which we'll get to in a second. We're also really proud of the fact that about 15% of our apartments are barrier-free. So that means that people who may use some kind of mobility device, such as a wheelchair, have amazing spaces to live in this building as well. As I mentioned earlier, what's really unique about this space is it's designed for graduate students. We know that there are various ways you may engage with looking for housing. But what we're proud about is this building is, it's for grad students. You're going to live with other graduate students. There's academic support built into the building. It's designed to facilitate your academic endeavors. And we also know there's some unique challenges that come with being a grad student, especially if you're international. So when you choose to live at 10 Bay, you don't have to prepay your first and last month's rent, which is a pretty standard practice if you're looking for other types of housing. We don't do a credit check. We don't need proof of income or employment. Again, because you're living with McMaster residents, it's different. We know that the unique situation grad students are in, and all of the apartments are fully furnished. They are beautiful. We'll get to that in a second too. They are move-in ready. They have the amenities you need right on site, and the monthly rent cost includes all of your utilities, so you're not worried about paying for water or electrical or heating or anything like that. There's amazing Wi-Fi throughout the building that's included, so again, it's not another thing you need to worry about paying or sourcing. We have 24/7 security, and that's security delivered by McMaster staff. So or reporting to McMaster staff. So those people on site are there and understand, again, your unique needs. We also are going to have McMaster staff live in the building. So on top of having a front desk like concierge operation, we will actually have staff who are there to help put on programming, to help support graduate students, and they will actually live in the building too. They're very excited about their future apartment. A bit about the location. So one of the questions we've had in the live chat is actually, where is 10 Bay located? It is not exactly on main campus. It's about a 10-minute bus ride, a 13-minute bike ride away. And it's in downtown Hamilton, which is really exciting because there's so many great amenities in downtown that is going to really fit a graduate student's lifestyle. You're walking distance from some of Hamilton's most exciting cultural areas, great breweries, lots of arts and entertainment events. You're really close to one of my favorite places to look for international food, which is Nation's grocery store, is actually right across the street. So it's this amazing international grocery store is right next door. There's a movie theater across the street. It's a great location and really allows you to engage with living in Hamilton and what that experience is like. It's also really close to 2 different GO train stations. So if you do want to leave the city, go to Toronto for the day, it's a quick walk to the GO train. You can hop on and be in Toronto in 45 minutes. Hamilton's also in a really cool location. It's kind of about 45 minutes from Toronto and about 45 minutes from Niagara Falls. So similarly, you can hop on the GO train, go to, go to Niagara Falls for the day, go to the wine region, which is actually what I did my grad studies in, was wine, because we have such a great wine region nearby. So there's lots to do, and being downtown allows you to connect with the rest of the province really easily. So I want to chat a little bit about the amenities in the building, because this is where, as you're doing your off-campus housing search, it's going to make this building difficult to compare to maybe some other off-campus housing properties you come across, because of all the unique amenities that are designed to support the health and well-being of our graduate students. Before I flip, just so you can see this nice and big, I had the opportunity to tour this rooftop patio. So this is 10 stories up. You can see there's some glass barriers around the side, but I would have loved to be able to wake up and go for a run outside 10 stories up, see the city, welcome the day before I started my studies. So there's some amazing amenities that I'm going to chat about now. First of all, we're really proud that this is an environmentally friendly building. There's space for 200 bicycles, so like dedicated bike storage. It's going to be a LEED certified building, 13-minute bike ride to McMaster. There's bike lanes nearby. And just the way even the ventilation, the materials used are environmentally friendly. So it's a building you can feel good about living in. As I mentioned, the rooftop running track and park. If you come with a family, there's some playground equipment, there's workout equipment. It's very safe, like there's good protective barriers in place. But it's amazing that you can just take the elevator to the 10th floor and pop outside for a run, a walk, study out there, and you get incredible views of the city and the lake. It's a really beautiful amenity we're really proud of. There's a barbecue area as well. So who doesn't love a barbecue? Be able to pop down and cook your dinner, take a look at the sunset, take a break from all that studying in a really beautiful environment. There's an on-site fitness center. So there's both going to be a gym that looks pretty much exactly like this, as well as there'll be what's called like a virtual fitness space. So imagine like a yoga room with televisions that allow you to bring up on-demand programming. So if you want to do like a yoga class, a bar class, a kickboxing class, you go to this TV, you type put in the type of fitness you want to do, and it essentially changes the room to what you need, which is really cool. There's a music room. So if you are musically inclined, you have the ability to rock out in your space. You don't need to worry about complaints from your neighbors that you're playing your trumpet at 2 a.m. There's dedicated spaces so that you can practice music as well. There are a ton of lounge and meeting spaces throughout the building. Across various floors, there's different styles of spaces. There's one, I believe, on the 30th story, so like just an amazing room with a great view of the city, so that you don't have to spend your entire time in your apartment studying. There's lots of spaces in the building designed for you to go and study and get out of your room, and connect with others. That's the other benefit of this building. You're all grad students, so you'll be hopefully living with people who are in the same program with you, and you can, instead of trying to find a place to get together, use one of the many spaces in the building to work on whatever you want to work on, or just have dinner. There's a movie theater, so this will be a room you'll be able to bring whatever media you have and have a little viewing. When I was in grad, I had to watch a lot of weird movies. It was an arts program. It would have been way better to do it in a movie theater setting than in my laptop in my room. So we're really excited to see how students use this space. There's an arcade room, because again, we want you to have fun. We want you to take some downtime, take a break and connect with people in the building and just blow off some steam from all your studying. So before we get into the pricing and the different floor plans available, my team also operates the off-campus housing website. So we did want to just mention what's happening in the local rental market. If you attended any of the previous webinars this week, it's probably already been mentioned. But rent in Hamilton, it has changed a lot over the last few years. So our rent prices for 10 Bay are considered market rates. So we're geared to what is happening in the local market. The difference being all the amenities I chatted about, the fact that it's all inclusive pricing, the fact that you're living in a McMaster building, you know who you're engaging with, you know who your landlord is. We have our front desk operation, we have the security in place, and we have on-site staff to support you. Those are the key differences here. So when we're looking at pricing, we just wanted to be upfront that right now in Hamilton, a 1-bedroom apartment is averaging about $1,874 a month. And that's a non-all-inclusive price. So you'd still be factoring in your utilities, your Wi-Fi, things on top of it. Burlington, it's a little bit more. I know we have some business students on the chat. So it's even a bit more expensive in Burlington, looking at $2,178 for a 1-bedroom. So because we have market rate pricing, our pricing is similar. The difference being all the amenities you get, and also just hopefully the confidence you have living in a building that is owned, operated by McMaster. So we're going to go through the different room types available. There's a few different floor plans within each category. All of those are on our website. So if you want to take a more detailed look, when students have been picking their apartments, a lot of them have jumped onto the chat, and we've actually chatted with them through the different floor plan options and helped them decide which makes sense for them. We've had students request that they want to face a certain direction. We're more than happy to help you with that. So again, our live chat is there. We have the full built-in floor plans. So if you want to make a decision on an apartment and you just want to know exactly which way it's facing or which floor plan you're getting, we're here to help you with that. So within the studio apartment price point, there's 3 different options. We have a basic studio. This is our barrier-free studio. So you won't openly see a lot of these available because these are set aside for students who have mobility needs. We also have the studio, and then the basic studio apartment. And the differences being their square footage and a little bit of different layouts here. I believe the one we have up here is the studio because it's open, where the basic studio, the bed is a little bit more tucked away. Again, all of the floor plans are on our website with their specific rental pricing as well. Our 1-bedroom apartment, we just have one category, but there are a lot of different floor plan layouts within this category. The average square footage, about 516 square feet for this style. This is a great floor plan for me to take you through some of the things you'll be seeing on screen here. So they are double beds, they are brand new. They actually brought in the mattresses for each of our staff members to take a quick lay down and test out. So I can say they're very comfy mattresses. It comes with a desk, wardrobe, table, couch, and this ottoman in the living room is a little storage ottoman. One thing that I think we need to do a better job pointing out is there is a dishwasher in the kitchen as well. So there's a lovely stove, a great, very high-end microwave, a dishwasher, which, man, I would have been a lot better if I had a dishwasher when I was in university. A fridge, obviously, and a wardrobe storage by the door. Very nice bathroom. Laundry amenities are in the building. They are on the first floor. And so there'll be lots of washer and dryers there for people to use. This is a 2-bedroom layout. And so with a 2-bedroom, you kind of have 2 different options depending on your situation. So our 2 bedrooms, we are actually renting out as one bedroom and a 2-bedroom situation. So this makes it a fairly economical option where we essentially find you a roommate because other students who are looking for a 1-bedroom in a 2-bedroom apartment, will book the other space. So if these spaces were A and B, you can go in and say, yep, I want to live on floor 10 and I'll take room A. And then what will happen is a student of the same gender identity of you will be able to then select the other space. So you get the benefit of the economical option of having a roommate without having to worry about sourcing a roommate. That being said, if you know someone and you are both grad students and you want to live together, you can just contact us and we can find a way to place you both in the same suite. So you don't have to worry about that. So you'd have your own private bedroom. There's a lock on that door, on the bedroom door. And then obviously you would share the bathroom, living room, kitchen, those kind of communal spaces. There's 2 different floor plans. There's a slightly larger floor plan, and you can see that's reflected at a slightly different price point as well. There's a few different variations of these floor plans that, again, you can see on our website, but this is a great option if you're looking for, safe, reliable housing, economical. You don't have to worry about a roommate. Because we're helping you we're placing a roommate for you. And that being said, if there is a roommate conflict, which is a question we get a lot about, we have our built-in residence staff who are there to support with that. So just like we support our first-year students in residence when there may be roommate conflicts, if that was ever the case, hopefully not, because you're both grad students, you're both very mature, but if there is some kind of conflict or you just need advice on a living situation, we have staff who live on site who will help you through those conversations. I've already jumped ahead a little bit, so like I said, don't worry, we can pair you up with a roommate, and they'll be the same gender identity as you. There's also the option to rent a full 2-bedroom apartment if you are coming with your family. So we have a very specific definition of family, which I would encourage you to read on our website. If there's a question about that, we can pull that up in the chat. But essentially, you need to be common law or married, any partner type, and then with or without children. And that allows you to have a 2-bedroom family discount. And the discount, you can see you get both rooms for that price point. And the price point differs based on which floor plan you proceed with. So in some cases, we do need some documentation to prove what family status you're applicable for. And that's all on the housing portal. And we'll ask you specifically what we need for that. There's also various lease lengths. I do want to take a second to say there is some September spaces still available. So if you're interested in moving in September, I'll talk about how to do that, but there are spaces still available. And there's various lease lengths to accommodate just bringing as many people as possible into our building. So I'm not going to go through them all on here because they're a lot to chat through, but if there are any specific questions, again, you can either reach out to us in the Q&A or we can chat via our live chat. So how do you actually secure your housing? So you need to make sure you have activated your MAC ID because our housing portal uses MAC ID to authenticate who you are. Right now on our website, there is what we're calling a general waitlist, and this is open to any graduate student. So if you're interested and you haven't received an offer from your faculty, you can just add yourself to the general waitlist. The waitlist moves very quickly. I almost don't like calling it a waitlist because really it is that we are just checking your grad status, making sure, yep, you are incoming or current student at McMaster who is a graduate student, and then we will let you know when you can go in and pick your apartment. An important piece that we always note is accommodation requests. So if you're a student who requires a specific room type for medical or religious needs, as I mentioned, there's those barrier-free apartments. You need to let us know because we want to help you and we want to make sure that you have the housing that is right for you. but you need to tell us exactly what you need. And there's a form that needs to be completed on the site, on the housing portal, that'll allow us to make sure we're matching you with an appropriate room or apartment type. And that's about it. So that was much quicker than I thought. So we have lots of time for questions. I'll invite Andrew to come back, and maybe we can go through some of the Q&As that are popping up.
Sure. Great, Holly. Bree's been answering a lot of questions. I think she's answered almost 20 so far. But a couple of the common ones that maybe we can just address. Questions about, is there a shuttle bus between 10 Bay and campus? Or if you could just articulate maybe the bus. I know Bree's answered this in the chat, but just we can verbalize it as well.
Perfect. Yeah, there is not a shuttle bus, but there is great public transportation just outside the door that would honestly run way more frequently than any shuttle bus ever could. You're on a main transit line, so you can pop outside, walk across the street and take a bus to campus. And I think it takes about 10 minutes to get to campus via public transit. So it's way better than a shuttle bus that would probably run less frequently.
Okay, great. And there were a few questions about having guests over. So if you could maybe address like a guest for one night, or if, let's say, a family member was coming to visit for a week, is that possible? Or there was also a question about like, can parents stay with in the room as well?
Okay, so we'll talk about the guest one first. So graduate students are adults. We fully expect that you will have guests. If you are in a studio or a 1-bedroom apartment, you can have a guest. If it became a situation where they are actively living with you, that is different. And we would need to make sure we have a record of them living there, because if there was ever an emergency, we want to know who's in the building. So if you're having casual guests who are staying overnight, then there's no need for that. But if it became a situation where you're like, hey, this is, this person's going to be my partner, and they're going to now live with me, we just need to know that. So you would just talk to the front desk, and we would make sure they're put up, not on your lease, but that we have a record that they live in your apartment. Now, if you're in a 2-bedroom with a roommate and you're having overnight guests frequently, that's where you just need to have a conversation with your roommate about, expectations, what makes sense, what's okay, what's not okay. And hopefully they'll do the same for you. I think that's really prudent as two adults who are living together to chat about what that means and what you're both comfortable with, so that you're not stepping on each other's toes and you have an understanding of how you're going to live together in that apartment. In terms of the family question, parents staying, to be honest, we haven't gotten that question before. So I would encourage you to reach out onto our live chat, because we do have family housing, and it is currently geared to the student being in that parent role, and then having their children. But, reach out to our live chat team and we'll help ask that question for you with those who make those policies in our department.
Okay, great. And another common question is about if you're coming with a spouse. So one, can you and your spouse share like a 1-bedroom or a studio living together?
Yes. You totally can, and you don't need to provide us any documentation because those don't qualify for a discounted rate. So the only time we're asking for you to prove your marital or partner status or family status is for those spaces. So the 2 bedrooms with the room discount. If you're a couple living in a 1-bedroom, just come on in. We're happy with that, and we'll just want a record of them again for that emergency reason.
Okay. And a second piece of that question, if you were staying in, let's say, a 2-bedroom, can you and your spouse share one room and then have a different roommate?
No.
Okay.
No. This is a good question. because that could end up in a potential situation where there's 4 people now living in a 2-bedroom apartment, one that goes beyond like our capacity limits. And also, frankly, that's probably where some roommate conflicts would be. So if you're a couple living together, we want you in your own private space for various reasons.
Okay, great. I know Bree's still answering some questions, so I'm going to pick ones that she's not typing the answer to. So are the shared spaces and amenities such as the gym and music room, theater, maybe even the playground, are they open yet, or do you have an estimated open time?
They are scheduled to open when we welcome the first people in September. So the way the building is being constructed, the first 10 floors are scheduled to open in September. That's why you've seen some different lease beginning dates, because it's as the building is completed. So September will have the first 10 floors. All the amenity floors, besides common rooms on individual floors, are 10 and below. So all of that will be in place for when the building opens. And then what we're doing, I think of it like a sandwich. I have terrible analogies, so bear with me. So we got 10 floors, and then the 11th floor, they will not do any construction on because we don't want any noise to come down and interrupt anyone's experience. And then, so the 11th floor will be done, and they'll actually be working on the next set of floors and finishing those up. And then those will be part of our October release. So we have a barrier floor, so there's no construction noise, but all of the amenities are 10 and below. So that'll be ready in time for September. I also see a question about new building, toxic paint, bad smell, all of that stuff, because we've seen that a few times and we have a great answer. We talked to the architects and the developers and all the people who know this stuff really well. And it is a very healthy building. It has a great HVAC system. So ahead of actually opening, there'll be obviously a very thorough cleaning to get rid of any construction dust, things like that. But we vent the building in a very methodical way that I can't explain because I'm not a construction builder. But they have given us the utmost confidence that you're not going to be smelling any chemicals, any toxic. Well, we don't use toxic paint, but anything like that, by the time people move in, will be taken care of. So it'll be a really healthy place to live, and you won't have that new building smell that you may be concerned about.
Okay, great. There's been a couple questions about meal plans. So my understanding based on Bree's answer is that there's not a meal plan at
Meal
this
plan.
building, but if a student wanted a meal plan, is that something that they would be able to do?
For sure. So hospitality services is the department that manages meal plans. So any student can buy a meal plan. I would encourage you to take a look at their website. Now, that being said, at this time, hospitality doesn't operate any restaurants or dining locations at 10 Bay or downtown. So if you are on campus and you want to utilize the meal plan, that makes total sense. But we do have full kitchens in all of the apartments, as well as some communal kitchens through the building. And like I mentioned earlier, your downtown Hamilton, the best place in Hamilton to be for all the takeout food. Amazing places to eat. You're across the street from Nation's grocery store, which one has amazing selection of international groceries, and also a really wonderful takeout counter, which is one of my favorite things in that area. So you could totally get a meal plan if you want to utilize that while you're on campus. But just when you're thinking about budgeting, you also do have a kitchen and some great amenities right near the building that I would encourage you to take a look at too.
Okay, great. And there's a few students asking, is it possible to see any real pictures of the buildings?
That is in progress. So I'm also in charge of scheduling the photographer. So we're going over in the next week or so to have some professional photography done to show you the suites. So that's on me and my team. It's on our to-do list. We've been given access this week. So in the next few weeks, we'll have real photos. That being said, I can tell you with confidence, the floor plans that are provided are incredibly accurate, even down to the size of the trim around the windows. Have been working with the architect on these 3D renderings for the past 6 months. And then when I actually saw the first real live suite, I was like, oh, I know this room because it is the exact same as the rendering, down to the floor color, down to the finishings, down to the mattress pattern. So we promise photos are in our future, but I do want to just instill confidence that the 3D floor plans are incredibly accurate and give you a great sense of the layout and the size of the space.
Okay, great. I know you've already addressed the shuttle bus to the main campus, that the city buses will be faster than anything we could provide. Do you know if there's anything planned for the Ron Joyce Center shuttle that goes to the main campus to stop at residence
Yeah,
eventually?
not at this time. I haven't heard anything on that. Again, you are across from a main transit terminal as well. So there is a bus that you can, like a city bus that you can take to Ron Joyce directly. It's like maybe a block away, the transit terminal from 10 Bay. Yeah, so I can't really speak to whether that could be something in the future. Sounds like a nice idea. But at this time, I haven't heard of any plans to have a shuttle stop.
Okay, great. You had mentioned about dishwashers. Is that included in every apartment?
Oh, all apartments have a dishwasher. It's so good. It's such a nice dishwasher.
Question about the insulation in terms of the sound between apartments, so either above or beside.
Yeah.
Do you have any, I know no one's lived in there yet, but do you have any comments around that?
The building standards are very high for this building. The company that is actually constructing the building has done similar buildings in Montreal. I had an opportunity to tour them. They are great. So they definitely take those things into consideration when they're designing and building the buildings. They know that, you don't want to hear your neighbors. So again, no one's lived in it, as Andrew's pointed out, but there are very high standards for these things in this building that I don't think this will be an issue.
Okay, great. So there's been a few questions. Everyone who's here, I believe, is an international student. This session is just for international students. And so, they will be arriving at various points in time. So questions about, what happens if I arrive earlier in August? Can we move in early? Are there any exceptions to that?
If you're moving in early August, I don't expect that we're going to be able to let you into the building early. However, send us an email and we can talk about what options are available to help support you until we move you into 10 Bay.
Okay, great.
That being said, if you're in maybe a later leasing period, you come in for October, there may be some flexibility later on, but September is when the building opens. So there really isn't the opportunity for an early move-in.
Okay, great. Thank you. Okay, I'm gonna go with the most upvoted questions here. So is there a way for me to contact my roommate? So I can see his name and email on the portal, but I don't think there's a way for me to access the McMaster email yet.
That's a great question. This is always a funny thing about different students getting access to their McMaster email at different times. This is like a common challenge that we hear across various different pieces. So we're going to need to take that one away because for privacy reasons, I'm not sure what we can share about your roommate, but it makes a lot of sense that you'd want to get in touch with them ahead of time. So I don't have an answer for you, but if you could email us, I'm going to put our email address in the chat, hcscomms@mcmaster.ca. If you could please send us an email, that would be great, because I see that you've posted anonymously. So reach out to us directly and we will work with you and see what we can do. And then once we know the answer, we'll be able to share that on our website for everyone who has that same question.
Great, thanks, Holly. And my understanding is most students should have access to McMaster email like in the next couple of
Oh,
weeks or so.
okay.
I,
So
I
that
would,
might be the answer.
yeah, I don't know you, Faye, if grad students might be a little bit different, if you wanted to jump in and comment, but my understanding is, because course registration and all of that, will be happening over the next little while.
Yes, so grad students, many of our grad students already have access to their Mac ID and McMaster email.
Already, okay, great. Okay, so should we edit the spouse details in our portal where we have registered for housing, or should we move ahead with the submitted application?
I
Not
feel like I
exactly.
don't have enough details to answer that one.
I agree.
That might be
So
another good one to email us about, or we have live chat. It is operational right now. So feel free to reach out to us and we can figure out for your exact situation how we can support you.
okay. If I do not provide a photo of my spouse, can he or she still live with me in my room for the entire duration?
We need a photo for security reasons. If there was ever a situation where, for example, he got locked out, you're at school, and we need to be able to give him a key to come back in. So we would want to make sure that we have that. And so we know we're giving the key to the right person. This is standard practice across all residence buildings. We do this with undergrad as well. We need a photo of everyone for safety and security.
Okay, great. And so this last question, so I'm ranked 28th on the list. Is it possible for me to rent a room next semester, or do I have to wait for somebody else to drop out to get a place?
If you are looking for September, there are spaces still available. If you're ranked 28th, I would expect you'll receive an invite to go and pick your space within the next 2 or 3 days. We're moving through them quickly. And again, that 28th is really just for us to go in and double check and verify your graduate student status. So that's a pretty quick process. So we're moving through, and yeah, you should be able to pick your apartment soon.
Okay. So I know for people living in Hamilton, we refer to it as 10 Bay. But Holly, can you just, confirm what is the address of 10 Bay?
Now I'm gonna have a moment where I'm like, is it 10 Bay Street North? I'm looking at Bree for a second. So it is 10 Bay Street. It's Bay and King. But Hamilton, once you're here, you'll know there's a big importance between North and South, because North and South end up being in very different places. So Bree is manically typing. You can see her concentration face right now. It's the easiest question of the call, and the one I go, oh, I don't want to get this wrong. North is so if it's not north, it's south. It's south. 10 Bay Street South. Thank you for that question. A great question, and one that Bree and I will never forget the answer to.
Awesome. So a follow-up question about your spouse's photo. Can I upload it after moving in, or do I need to upload it like now through the application process?
We would prefer to have it now. If there is a specific reason that would be appropriate for us to discuss in an email that you can't upload the photo, let us know, reach out to us directly. But generally speaking, we want everyone's photos ahead of time.
And so, Holly, if there's a situation where maybe the student's coming in September, but the spouse isn't arriving till like November or something like that, or we don't necessarily know, can a spouse arrive at a later point?
Yes, yeah, it's really just about letting us know that ahead of time. So that becomes an email, so that we can just make sure that's flagged appropriately in the system, and that we're prepared for their arrival.
Okay. So here's a question about the actual pairing of roommates, just looking
Yeah.
for clarity. Is it based on program, or what criteria do you use to pair people together?
So at this point, when we first opened up offers, it was by program. At this stage, all of the program offers are completed. So it's now just other graduate students. So it could be someone from across various programs at the university. They all are McMaster students. So it's not just a random person. It is someone who is attending McMaster as well. And they are, so essentially what happens when you go in, if you're the first person picking a room, in the system, it will then categorize that room as only available to people with the same gender identity as yourself. So whatever you've put in, then other people who have identified the same way will now see that as available for them to choose in the system.
Okay, great. And then I think we have answered this question a few times. Can we accommodate guests?
Totally. You're adults. Bring guests. The difference is one, remember your roommate. If you have one, you want to make sure that you are both on the same page of what rules you have in place with guests. So talk to your roommate if you have one. If you don't, great. You don't have anyone to talk to. You can bring your guest in. The difference being, if it becomes a situation where your guest is now living there, that's when we need to make sure they're registered, so that we know that they're your partner and that we have their information in an emergency situation or if they get locked out. So that's the difference there. But guests, come on in.
Okay. Can students change? Like if
Yeah,
they've already done their application,
I
can they still
see that.
change?
Yeah, so if you would like to make a change, again, this is a good thing for us to work through via email. So reach out to us and we'll connect you with residence admissions in order to make that change. The way our system works, if you were to like cancel, we wouldn't want you to be in a situation where you cancel and then the room you're actually looking for is then booked. And then you're kind of like, oh no, I don't have either option. So please reach out to us and we can help that with that.
Okay. A lot of questions about guests. How long can a guest stay with me?
I don't know what the official policy is. I think that's still being established. What's new for us as your graduate students, we're usually figuring out a guest policy for a first year situation. So that's a great question and I will take that back. And that can be something we'll put on the website as well.
Great, thanks. And can you just maybe explain a little bit more? I know we use the term waiting list, which can sometimes be a bit misleading. So if a student is currently on a waiting list, will you be sending them an email, or how does that work?
Yes, exactly. So that waiting list is really just a space for us to have everyone in the appropriate order and check their status. So I don't actually do this piece, but verifying, okay, yep, you're a grad student, you're who you say you are, you're coming to Mac, awesome, great. And then at that point, we will make you eligible and you'll get an email saying you are eligible for housing, come on in and pick your apartment. So if you're on that waiting list, all that's happening is you're in line for our administrative team to verify your status and we will email you shortly.
Okay, great. We did it. 46 questions.
46
That's amazing.
questions.
Yeah, what a great group. Really engaged. So thank you so much, Holly. Thank you so much, Bree and you, Faye, for joining us. And hope everybody found this helpful. And we really do look forward to seeing you. If you're coming to campus before September, stop by our office. Great to see you. But if not, we will see you all in September.